Hi YouTube, it's Kathy, and this is my weekly entertainment wrap-up for October 22nd through 28th. This week I read 2 books, I watched 3 shows, I watched 3 movies, and I listened to 1 book. If you watched my video 2 weeks ago, you're getting a little bit of deja vu because I'm back in the same place and I'm back with the same cat. This is Lottie. She just really likes this chair and I wasn't gonna move her because it's her chair. The first book that I finished this week is The Spirit Bares Its Teeth. This is a historical fiction fantasy about this trans boy who really wants to gain access to this society so he can basically transition and live in society as something other than the girl he is being forced to live as. However, in this society, people that have purple eyes are highly sought after, and he has purple eyes, so it looks like he's going to be married off to somebody because that's very profitable for the family. However, because he hasn't been acting ideally and wants to live in a way that's different than what other people want for him, he's sent off to this boarding school to basically smarten him out, and it's kind of a medical boarding school where they're trying to get rid of this world's version of hysteria, if you will. However, as you can probably guess, some very dark things are going on here, especially when it has to do with medical testing and people just disappearing from this establishment. I really enjoyed this. This was a great combination of creepy and historical, but with this fantasy element and with a little bit of romance thrown in and people just trying to figure out themselves in this ridiculous system. The other book that I finished this week is A Destiny in Ash. This is the 3rd in the In Ash series, and I really enjoyed getting back into this world. Obviously, being the 3rd book in a series, I can't tell you too much about plot-wise, but what I can tell you is this one really ramps up the steaminess because we have these 3 characters coming together, realizing that they are in fact a throuple, so lots of relationship things happening and then a lot of spicy time things happening. Amidst this political backdrop of what's going on based on what you learned from the 2nd book, which I'm not going to tell you about. I thought this was a great ending to this series, so if you've read the first one or you were interested in reading the first one and you didn't really want to start reading it until you knew all of the books were out, now is your chance because this book comes out on Tuesday, which is Halloween, so it's just about out in the world for everyone to purchase. And yes, it gets very spicy. It talks a lot about consent, it talks about relationship dynamics, relationships between multiple people. It's great. As for the shows I watched, I finished the last 2 episodes of the 2nd season of A Heartstopper, which was very lovely to do. There's a lot that happened particularly in these 2 episodes. So it was great to see certain things resolving and then other things being teased for the next season, which I can only assume will actually happen because this is a smash hit and I can't see a world where they would just be like, no, we don't actually need another season of this because it's delightful. I also watched the first 4 episodes of The Midnight Club, which is based on a Christopher Pike book of the same novel, but it also weaves in other books by him, which I know because I read a lot of his books in my teens. I've recently gone back and reread some, and they're not great. Some of the things don't really hold up, and some of the writing is a little bit cheesy. However, if you can take the core of those stories and put them into this new medium and take out the elements that are cheesy or out of date, it's a good idea, and it was a good idea to do for Netflix. Hello, Lottie. Where are you going? Oh, you're gonna sit there. That's gonna be a problem when I have to get up and check my camera. All I really knew going into this is there seemed to be too many people who were in the Midnight Club from the poster, because in the book there are only about 5, because I reread that I think not last year but the year before. However, I really like this format because the Midnight Club is this club that meets at midnight in a hospice for dying teens, and they're basically telling spooky stories, but when they're telling these stories we're seeing them actually acted out by the same actors who are in the Midnight Club, and I kind of really like that. Chad and I also watched the first 4 episodes of The Big Door Prize, which is a show that stars Chris O'Dowd living in this very small town with his wife and his daughter and all these other people, and this machine shows up in the general store that will tell you what your life potential is, and people are going nuts. They're completely changing their lives based on what this machine tells them. It's a really interesting premise, and I'm interested to see how it continues and what else is going to happen. You're just the star of the show, aren't you now? Did you read any books this week? Do you want to tell the people about anything? The first movie I watched this week was Zombie Town, which was not good. It's about this guy who lives in this town that is also the place where this movie director lives, and basically the town was renamed after this director. Everybody loves this director, but he hates this director, and he works at the movie theater, so he's just like, this is garbage. After many, many years, this director's releasing another movie, but some creepy things happen to do with that. You might guess that maybe some zombies happen because it's called Zombie Town. I don't think this was particularly well written or particularly well acted, and the zombies were really weird. So it wasn't my favorite thing I've ever watched as a zombie thing. I think that will always still be Shaun of the Dead. And if you have any recommendations of zombie movies that are pretty good actually, please let me know down below. For the first time ever, I also watched Planet Terror, which I guess is one half of Roadhouse. It's the Rodriguez movie, not the Tarantino movie. If you know that, I didn't understand how all of that was marketed or whatever. But this is kind of a parody of these kind of action horror flicks. And because of that, it just goes to ridiculous lengths. Like, there's a whole section of the story that's just taken out, and they're like, yeah, we lost this footage, and you're like, but it's really hard to care about a plot when you do that. So I can understand that it's satire, but also I wanted more out of it. And yeah, there are some ridiculous things that happen, so some iconic screenshots have been made from this, but it was hard to really care so much about this movie. It was just kind of like, ah, yes, another ridiculous thing is happening. Is it over yet? My roommate also put on a movie called Old Dads while I was in the room, and I just happened to still be sitting there the whole time that it was on, so I guess I sort of watched it. This one wasn't really to my taste, because some of the humor and some of the talking points are just either really transphobic or really racist, or they're trying to make a point about people who talk in these types of ways, but really it's not making as much of a point as you would think that it was trying to do. And basically, I just hated everybody in this movie. Like, everybody was insufferable. And like, the most interesting thing to come out of it is there's just one character, and I looked up who his parents were, and it was Susan Sarandon and Tim Robbins, and I was like, oh, alright, cool. That was mostly what I got out of this movie. Lottie? No! There's a cat butt. As for the audiobook I listened to this week, I would really love to tell you all about it because I actually very much enjoyed it. There were aspects to it that I thought were really well done. There was kind of this mystery as to what was going to happen with it. However, I started listening to it before I knew about the St. Martin's Press boycott, and at the end of it there was actually an interview with the author, and at that point it said that somebody from Wednesday Books was doing the interview, so I looked it up, and this is one of the books that is part of the boycott, so I cannot tell you about it. If you don't know about the St. Martin's Press boycott, I will leave some information down below. Essentially, St. Martin's Press is the parent company to Wednesday Books. There's an employee who is working at Wednesday Books who is doing some very Islamophobic things, and nobody from either Wednesday Books or St. Martin's Press has addressed it in any way whatsoever. There is a very short list of demands that we are making, and until that point, I will not be reviewing anything under their umbrella. I will also not be reading anything else under their umbrella. I just didn't realize that this was one of their titles until I had finished it. And I hate to leave this on a downer, but that's it for this week. If you've read, watched, or listened to any of these, let me know about it down in the comments below. On the way down to the comments, if you hit that subscribe button, that would be very nice of you. If you don't want to leave a comment, but you want to make sure that I know you were here, just leave an emoji or smiley face if you happen to be on your keyboard. Some people have asked if there's a way to financially support this channel, so I set up a Ko-fi account, which is a digital tipping service. The link for that, as always, is down below. I have 2 videos coming out this week, so keep your eyes peeled for those. You can like and share this as you see fit, and I will see you very soon. Bye!